Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to set up a very simple light studio setup. Once again, I'm not inventing anything new. What I'm looking at real life situations so that I can replicate them. Okay? So step number one would be to create a small limbo or the background for where my rendering is going to be visualized or my object is going to be visualized. And I do that by simply drawing some curve. In this case, I could actually make my life easier and say I do it like this so that I don't have to make another element. I can have the reflection inside my initial limbo. Then I'm going to extrude this element. There we go. I'm gonna delete the line because I don't need it anymore. And now, just for practicality, I click on this element, click and hold this button. I go down to Set Object Shading Attributes and change the mode to wireframe. Basically, what it does, it makes it transparent. Okay? And now I can lock it. So I cannot move it anymore, but it's there. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to place two lights. The light shows the direction itself with this little arrow here. I'm gonna turn it. And from the top, I'm just gonna place it on the side of my model. And I'm gonna make a copy also on the other side. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to set my view. Okay? So I'm gonna keep my view here steady. And to save this view, what I'm going to do, I'm going to right click on perspective, set view, name views, and I'm gonna save this view. Call it 1. So now every time that I navigate my model, if I want to go back to the view, I right click and say set view 1 and it goes back. So let's do a very quick test render. Okay, I can already tell that the light seems to be okay balanced, but that's because I've changed already the values of my camera. Don't worry, I'm gonna go through them again. I'm gonna stop the render for now, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to click on each single light and I'm going to change the intensity. For now, let's leave the default scalar system. It doesn't matter. I change this to 15 and I give a little bit of color, a light yellow color. And on this side I do the same. I change the color and I give something a little bit bluish. So now that I go back to my view and I render, I have a little bit more light direction from this side with some highlights. And if I click on this button, I can make my mouse follow. I can make the render follow my mouse so that I can have a quicker view preview of my model. Now, and this is it. You see, I already see my my geometry. It's readable, so it's good enough. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to show you a little bit the render options that we are going to use. Basically, if you're using an old version of V-Ray, you need to make sure that inside the environment you have nothing shown in here. Because it could be that here you have some sort of like, say, a bitmap, and this bitmap is an HDRI picture. So what you want to do, you want to click on this little M, go here and say none. Alternatively, it could be that, you know, this is already empty, so you don't have to worry about it. And then the second thing that you have to do, you have to go inside the Indirect Illumination tab, and you have to change this from Brute Force, this is usually what you get, to Light Cache. This is because we're working with this version of Rhino, of V-Ray. With the newest version of V-Ray, you won't have to worry about this, okay? So now everything is changed. You got the irradiance map and light cache. Please bear in mind that this is very important. 90% of the problems we are going to have when making a rendering will have to do with this switch. So pay attention, okay? Remember all the time to use the light cache. Now I go back to my view, set view, 1, and everything is set. Now all you have to do, if the light is balanced, is to change in the camera option the shutter speed. In this case you have 150, you can try with 100 and see the difference. Let's make a quick render. Actually I think that 100 works a little bit better in this case. And also bear in mind that we are working without any materials that show basically no properties. Now there are certain things like these little leaks or these little errors on the mesh that can be corrected by changing the quality of the light itself. Like for instance, if I select a light, I have parameters such as subdivisions, to which I could say instead of 8, 80, and instead of photon subdivision 500, I could say 1000. I'll do the same with this light, 80 and 1000. Then I go back to render. Then you will see some of these minor errors, they will start to disappear because I've increased the quality of the light. Obviously the problem is that the higher these settings go, the more time it will take you to render. As you can see, the element is already a lot cleaner. There is still some issues, but we can correct those also in the general settings of the rendering. But anyway, generally speaking, it's already a much cleaner image just by changing the quality of the light. So the subdivisions, they basically give you the quality of the light. Now I'm gonna stop the render because as you can see, it takes already a lot longer. One thing that you can do, you can adjust a global multiplier of the quality, which is in the light cache. If I click on the light cache, I can change the subdivisions of the light cache to something like 1000, and these will, of course, take a little bit longer to render, but it will give you a better quality of the image. Also, another thing that changes the quality of the image is the size of the image itself. Because if you have a very small image, the approximation of the light calculation and so on needs to be done on a very small image. But if you have a bigger image, obviously V-Ray will have a lot more surface or real estate on which it can work and produce a better picture. So how do we do this? It's very simple. In the option, in the output option, we have the chance to set a size for the picture that we produce. In this case, it's 800 by 600, so a ratio of 1.3. What we want to do, we want to get the aspect ratio of our viewport, okay? Because if I now do a rendering, and I show it to you, the rendering doesn't have the proportion of our viewport, and we want to change this. So to change this, all I have to do is click on Get View Aspect Ratio, and then on L to lock it. If I do this, now I know that the size of my picture will always be the same as what I see in my viewport. Now guys, pay really a lot of attention to this, because everyone is gonna write me an email telling me that the rendering doesn't look like what you see in your computer. This is what you have to do to fix it. So I'm gonna change this to 1200, and I'm gonna click on render again. In this case, I'm actually too far from the picture. It's a little bit of a shame to render so far from it. So I'm gonna get closer. And I'm gonna right click, set view, named views, and save this one as a brand new view, number 2, okay. And then I'm gonna render. Now bear in mind that until I put some V-Ray materials on this geometry, I will still see some of these minor mesh related mistakes, okay? But it doesn't matter, because the moment we're gonna start working with the materials themselves, they're going to take care of it. As you can see, just by changing those settings, we have a much cleaner image, okay? So I think that for this video, that's enough. Now we're gonna move on to the next chapter, where I'm going to explain you very quickly how to create some very basic materials, and we're not gonna focus too much on them. To me, it's more important that you understand the idea of rendering, because also the materials can be found for free online. There are endless materials that you can use. So let's just wait a little bit to see how the geometry looks like. Great. So as you can see, this video really troubleshoots all the problems that you might have when doing a rendering, okay? So please refer to this video when making your own work, okay? Good. I'm gonna stop this, and I'm gonna upload it for you.